to their real worth, so let's start by talking about the year 1976 itself. A year that was not only historically important for the United States as it marked the bicentennial celebration of 200 years of independence, but also a year that created a wave of special coinage. Although the Roosevelt dime was not officially part of the bicentennial design program, which featured special quarters, half dollars, and silver dollars, mistakes at the mint, experimental strikes, and mint mark anomalies are believed to have created a few rare 1976 Roosevelt dimes that collectors now consider almost priceless. And this is where things get very interesting, because a coin like the 1976 dime would normally have no special premium above face value if struck perfectly, but when errors occur, such as double dies, off-center strikes, transitional metal planchets, wrong mint mark applications, and other minting anomalies, the value skyrockets, and that is exactly what happened with the dime we are focusing on. The coin reportedly carries unique mint mark errors, some transitional planchet issues, and misaligned die features that make it stand out as an ultra-rarity, and the reason this specific 1976 Roosevelt dime is worth $13 million is not only because of the technical minting errors but also because of its extreme rarity, with only 1 or 2 specimens ever confirmed to exist, and when it comes to coin collecting, rarity is everything. The fewer examples available, the higher the demand, and when high demand collides with almost no supply, the value can reach numbers that ordinary people might never imagine could be tied to a 10-cent coin. Now let us dive deeper into the Roosevelt dime itself. The coin was first introduced in 1946 following the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had served 4 terms as president and was a beloved figure due to his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II. The dime was chosen to honor him partly because of his association with the March of Dimes, a foundation established to fight polio. So the Roosevelt dime became both a tribute and a symbol of hope. Its design features his portrait on the obverse, with the word liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," the year of mintage, and a mint mark when applicable. The reverse design features a torch, olive branch, and oak branch representing liberty, peace, and strength, and throughout its history the dime has been struck in silver and later in a copper-nickel clad composition beginning in 1965, and by 1976 the standard composition was already copper-nickel clad, but mistakes sometimes happen, and transitional errors have been reported where coins intended to be clad were accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets, and if such a thing happened in 1976 it would make that dime incredibly valuable. Combine that with mint mark placement errors such as mispunched or missing mint marks and you have the perfect recipe for a multi-million-dollar coin. Let us imagine the journey of such a coin. Perhaps it was struck at the Denver Mint or the Philadelphia Mint, maybe even at San Francisco if it was part of a proof strike, but during the minting process something unusual happened. The die may have been slightly rotated, the planchet may have been different in composition, the mint mark may have been doubled or misplaced, and this one tiny variation created a coin unlike any other in existence. Now collectors and auction houses are always on the lookout for such rarities, and when one surfaces it causes a sensation. Reports claim that a single specimen of the 1976 Roosevelt dime with such unique errors was sold or valued at $13 million, and that figure seems astronomical compared to its face value of 10 cents, but in the world of rare coins this is not impossible, as history has shown us with the 1933 Double Eagle gold coin which sold for over $18 million, and other legendary rarities like the 1794 flowing hair dollar and the 1913 Liberty nickel. The 1976 Roosevelt dime joins this elite club of rarities not because of its beauty alone but because of its sheer improbability of existence. And if you think about it, how many millions of Roosevelt dimes were minted in 1976, yet among those millions only 1 or 2 contain the error combination that makes them unique, and that is the magic of coin collecting. The idea that an ordinary-looking coin in your pocket change could be worth millions keeps the passion alive for collectors everywhere. Now let's go deeper into the types of errors and possibilities that make coins like this so valuable. First we have double die errors, where the coin shows doubling of letters or numbers because of a misalignment during die creation. Second we have off-center strikes where the design is not perfectly centered on the planchet, sometimes with large blank areas visible. Third we have wrong planchet errors where the coin is struck on a metal blank intended for another denomination, for example a dime struck on a penny planchet. Fourth we have transitional errors where the mint changed the composition from silver to clad but leftover blanks were accidentally used, And fifth, we have mint mark anomalies where the mint mark was hand-punched onto the die and mistakes occurred resulting in overpunched or missing marks. All of these errors increase rarity and value, and the 1976 Roosevelt dime combines some of these in a way that no other coin has, which is why it has been reported as a multi-million-dollar rarity. But beyond errors, we must also consider the historical context. 1976 was the bicentennial year, a time when Americans were paying close attention to coins because of the special bicentennial designs on quarters, half dollars, and dollars, so a strange dime from this year gains additional attention simply for being associated with that milestone. Now let us turn to how collectors identify such rarities. Usually coin authentication services such as PCGS and NGC are the gold standard. These companies grade coins, verify errors, and certify authenticity, so if you were ever to stumble upon a dime that looked unusual from 1976, the first step would be to have it authenticated by a professional grading service. They would examine the coin under magnification, study the metal composition, confirm the mint mark anomalies, and then assign it a grade on the Sheldon scale, which ranges from 1 for poor condition to 70 for perfect mint state. Now coins with errors that are unique and preserved in high grades often achieve the highest premiums at auction, and for the 1976 Roosevelt dime in question it is believed that the specimen is not only rare because of errors but also in exceptional condition, further fueling its market value. Let us also discuss the psychology of collecting and why people are willing to pay millions for such coins. Part of it is the thrill of owning something unique, part of it is the investment potential since ultra-rare coins often appreciate over time, and part of it is prestige. Owning a coin that no one else in the world can own gives a sense of pride and status that cannot be measured in money alone. And when such a coin appears at auction, wealthy collectors, investors, and even museums may compete to acquire it, pushing the price higher and higher until it reaches seemingly unbelievable numbers. So when you hear that a dime is worth $13 million, it is not just about the metal it is struck on or its face value, it is about the story, the rarity, the errors, the history, and the passion of the collecting community. And that brings us to the current market value. While ordinary 1976 Roosevelt dimes in circulation are only worth 10 cents, high-grade mint state examples might sell for a few dollars, and certain error varieties might reach hundreds or thousands, but the specific ultra-rare error specimen we are discussing is valued at $13 million, making it one of the most valuable coins in existence. And this leads us to the exciting possibility that rare treasures might still be out there in circulation or tucked away in jars, drawers, or inherited collections. Imagine checking your pocket change and discovering a coin that could make you a millionaire overnight. It has happened before and it could happen again, so the lesson for collectors and even casual viewers is to always pay attention to your coins, learn the signs of rare errors, study mint marks, look for anomalies, and never dismiss a coin simply because it looks ordinary. Because as the 1976 Roosevelt dime shows us, sometimes the most ordinary looking coin can be the most extraordinary treasure, and this is why numismatics continues to inspire generations, combining history, artistry, economics, and a sense of discovery into one fascinating hobby. And before we close, let us reflect again on how incredible this is: a 10-cent coin struck in 1976, carrying the portrait of Roosevelt, with a motto of liberty and in God we trust. The world of rare coins, where history, rarity, errors, minting mistakes, and collector passion all come together to turn an ordinary-looking piece of pocket change into something worth millions. And today we are going to talk about one of the most extraordinary cases ever recorded in modern numismatic history, the 1982 D. Roosevelt dime. A coin with a face value of just 10 cents that through a unique combination of rarity, mint mark error, striking mistakes, and survival in high condition has been reported to fetch astonishing values as high as $14 million in the collector market. And while that sounds unbelievable at first, the truth is that coin collecting is filled with such incredible stories where the smallest imperfections or anomalies can transform a piece of circulating money into a priceless treasure. And to understand why the 1982 D. Roosevelt dime is so special, we need to take a journey back into its history, the context of its minting, the legacy of Roosevelt dimes, and the broader traditions of U.S. coinage that explain why some coins are worth only their face value while others ascend into the stratosphere of collector wealth. So let's start by considering the Roosevelt dime series itself, which was introduced in 1946 shortly after the death of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who had served as the 32nd President of the United States, leading the country through the Great Depression and most of World War II, and because Roosevelt was such a towering figure and also a strong supporter of the March of Dimes program, which funded research to fight polio, the decision to honor him on the dime was both symbolic and fitting, and so the dime became not just a circulating coin but also a tribute to his legacy, with its design created by chief engraver John R. Sinek featuring the left-facing profile of Roosevelt on the mint mark has its own unique story, because during that period mint